Great day, everybody. We are the group that tackled about the telephone conversation by Wole Soyinka. So before we proceed to the story, let me give you first a brief background of the story. So, telephone conversation is a poem that talks about the racism and the ingrained mindset of a certain white people who, or for whatever reason, discriminate on the ground of race and in particular their skin color. So, this is a short biography of Wole Soyinka. So, Wole Soyinka was born in Nigeria in 1934. He has produced many literary works over the years. In 1986, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. This poem dates from 1962 and was part of anthology Modern Poetry from Africa in 1963, a classic book.
Wole Soyinka. The price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-confession. Madam, I warned, I hate a wasted journey. I am African. Silence. Silence transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice when it came. Lipstick coated and long gold rolled cigarette holder pipe. Cough I was foully. How dark! I had not misheard. Are you light or very dark? Button B, button A, stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. Red booth, red pillar box, red double tire. Omnibus, squelching tar. It was real, shamed by ill-mannered silence. Surrender pushed, dumbfounded to big simplification. Considerate she was, varying the emphasis. Are you dark or very light? Revelation came. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? Her accent was clinical, crushing in its light impersonality. Rapidly wavelength adjusted, I chose West African sepia, and as afterthought, down in my passport. Silence for spectroscopic flight of fancy, till truthfulness clung her accent, hard on the mouthpiece. What's that? Conceding. Don't know what that is. Like brunette. That's dark, isn't it? Not altogether. Facially, I am brunette. But, madam, you should see the rest of me. Palm of my hand, sole of my feet are a peroxide blonde. Fiction caused foolishly, madam. By sitting down, has turned my bottom raven black. One moment, madam, sensing her receiver rearing on the thunderclap. About my ears, madam, I pleaded. Wouldn't you rather see for yourself?
It's not difficult for us to determine and differentiate between anything that is good or bad, black and white, or old and young. The summary of telephone conversation by Wole Soyinka is a blatant example how simple communication is vehemently affected as we focus too seriously upon our recognizable differences. The resistance is created to stop everything that is needed to form a band and act as a lubricant between human beings. Also, important in this case is to note how Wole Soyinka uses words to dip in racism to create impact that turns out to be highly detrimental to the conversation. Settings. Telephone conversation is a set of unnamed country which implied to be England. Soyinka studied in Leeds, a city in the North England. As a young man, and the speaker mentions a pillar box in line 13, a kind of mailbox that used throughout the United Kingdom. Character. The poem Telephone Conversation by Wole Soyinka introduces readers to the characters of the white landlady and a black African man. The African man is also the speaker in the poem. Telephone Conversation is a poem written by Wole Soyinka, a renowned African writer in English. The poem exposes the presence of racial discrimination at the individual level in society, even after the passing of the laws against it. The poem is a conversation between a white landlady and a black American African.
The rising action was the poet talks about two people on the phone, and the story goes on to narrate how the African man is looking for a house and the landlady was proposed a considerable price for the same. And the poet strike a positive note as the man gets to know that his privacy won't be hampered as the landlady doesn't stay on the premises. The African man is happy to know that, and just before he makes up his mind to consider the offer, he drops in to mention that he is black. On the other end of the line, there was nothing but silence, which the African man takes it to be an impolite action. The climax was the landlady was silent for a few minutes because of what the man said. After the landlady's moment of silence, she asked the man how dark he is. When the man heard it, he felt ashamed and he referred himself as a button in the phone. But despite hearing it, the man continued talking and he said that he was not that black. So, the following action of the story was the man revealed that his skin color can pictured as West African sepia, wherein it looks like a dark brunette. Moreover, the man revealed to the landlady that the soles of his feet and palms of his hands are white. But the situation was too intense and the landlady could turn down the call any time. But despite the circumstances, the man said that the landlady can go check out his black complexions, but the landlady was too ignorant, so she finally turned down the phone.
Resolution. Her beloved and their love comes in the last two lines of the poem. Her original fears and concerns are pushed aside by her love for him and her wish for him to conflict. The conflict between a black man and a white woman is the focus of this narrative poetry, which extends to the conflict between the two races in society. Theme: Telephone conversation is racism in the poem. A black man tries to confirm a housing arrangement with the landlady over the phone. He wishes to inform the landlady that he is black, and a ridiculous conversation ensues regarding how dark his skin color is. The poem is a tongue-in-cheek statement on racism, with the speaker responding with sarcasm and humor to the landlady's insulting questions. The poem also emphasizes the lack of communication between different races. Moral lessons. Telephone conversation engages in a moral indictment of language itself, and more particularly in the surreptitious slippage between meaning and prejudice. This is not a poem that seeks serenity in language, but demands transformation, change, and most of all, awareness.
Symbolism. So, Telephone Conversation is a 1963 poem by the Nigerian writer Wole that satires racism. So, the poem describes a phone call between a landlady and the speaker who is renting an apartment. So, the analysis is Telephone Conversation is a 1963 poem by the Nigerian writer Wole that satires racism. So the poem describes a phone call between a landlady and the speaker who is black about renting an apartment. So the landlady is pleasant until she learns that the speaker is African. So at which point she demands to know how light or dark the speaker's skin is. So in response, the speaker clearly marks the landlady ignorance and prejudice, so demonstrating that characterizing people by their skin color diminishes their humanity.